So hi everyone, my name is Eder and welcome to another Dream Interpretation Thursdays where I interpret your guys' dreams every single week. In today's video, I'm actually going to be interpreting Reya's dreams. Now, Reya actually sent me 2 dreams, but right before we get started with that, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing because I do dream interpretations every week, depending on if people send me their dreams. The other thing is that if you guys would like to send me your dreams so that I can interpret them here on the channel, then feel free to write down in the comments down below your dreams, or if you like to keep your name private, then you can give me another name to use, and you can actually send me your dream at my email, which is dreaminterpretation2020@gmail.com, or if you'd like, you could also DM me on my Instagram. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention real quick is that I actually don't charge for my dream interpretations, and the reason I have to say that is because there are a lot of people out there that do charge. I don't do that. I don't believe in that. But in any case, let's get started with the interpretation. So hi, I had 2 dreams from the have dreams from the past that I always wondered about and was wondering if I could help. These dreams were before I came to Christ, and I had a dream that I was in my house and was coming from my bedroom, but it was dark. And I was walking down the hallway and the lights were on in the living room, and basically I saw Jesus sitting in the dining room chair down the hallway. I ran up to him to give him a hug, and as I was walking up to him, I saw 2 huge angels with staffs that were like 7 or 8 feet tall. When I was hugging Jesus, he looked sad, but when I saw his eyes were glowing like stars. But when I saw that he was sad, I got sad because I thought I did something wrong. After that, the scene changed and there was a huge flood that came back and took everything away. But there was only a mall left, and I swam up to it to safety so that I wouldn't drown. And I climbed in after that, and the dream ended. Yeah, so it was a very short dream, but as stated, these are dreams from the past. But in any case, we're still going to interpret them. So yeah, the dream first started with her going downstairs. Everything was dark. So it basically signified it was a representation of her life at that moment, right? She's not with God. And she also stated that, right? Well, I don't know if she stated it right here or she stated on the email. Yeah, I think she stated it on the email. But she basically just said that during that time she wasn't with God yet. And but now she is, which is awesome. But the representation of the darkness was just her being lost. And so then she started approaching Jesus, and he was the light, right, in the dark room. So that was a representation of her life. And right before she went in to hug Jesus, she noticed 2 angels that were right beside Jesus. So these were actually her guardian angels that have been protecting her whole life. And that's outside of the dream. That's what Holy Spirit shows me. So that's why those angels were there in the dream. Next, Jesus looked at her and she almost felt sadness because she thought that he was disappointed in her. That's not actually what was happening. Jesus was actually looking at her and was actually feeling sad, right, that she had gone through so much, So she was sad that she was basically lost, right? And there was a dual-mindedness. And the dual-mindedness comes with after she looked Jesus in the eyes and felt like, oh my gosh, did I do something wrong? All of a sudden it switched, and now she was like back in the world, and there was a huge flood that was taking her, right? So the flood was taking her, it was taking everything, and the only thing that she went to for safety was the mall. Well, in a mall, that was a representation of people, right? And so basically the lost people, right? She was basically by herself, but she was trying to swim back to the mall, or she was trying to swim towards the mall so that she wouldn't drown. But the thing is that this whole representation, as soon as the dream switched, it was a representation of her dual-mindedness during this time. So she wasn't all in with Jesus, and she stated that. And like I just mentioned, she was going towards the mall to seek asylum, essentially. But the thing is that wasn't really asylum, right? That wasn't a safe haven. That's a better word. It wasn't a safe haven at the end of the day because everything else was being washed away. And so that's why Jesus, going back to the part where Jesus was looking at her in her eyes, right? And she felt that she disappointed him. It wasn't disappointment. It was mostly just sadness that Reya was going through this period at this time of dual-mindedness. But what's awesome about this dream is that after, Reya did state that, this was before when she was lost. She didn't turn herself to God. But obviously that's changed now, and she is living a life as a Christian, which is awesome. But that's the interpretation of that dream. All right, so now let's move on to the second dream. So before I had the second dream, I was going through heavy spiritual warfare. I was hearing voices and seeing things and having nightmares, and I prayed to God before that because the spiritual warfare was going on for months, but the attacks were heavy. And the day before that, I told God to reveal to me what was in my heart because I wanted to fix it. Before I had the dream, I was getting attacked and was crying a lot because it was a lot of mental stuff. So I told God that if he doesn't help me, I'm going to give up. I think you could tell that I meant it. So then I ended up having a dream. Everyone was raptured and I was sad. Okay, so this is when the dream starts. So everyone was raptured and I was sad and scared because I knew what comes after that. Because I knew what comes after. He looked so disappointed and said, because your heart is far from me. When I woke up, I was confused because I didn't... Okay, that's where the dream ended. When I woke up, I was confused because I didn't think it was going to be that, because he said that Pharisees about the hand washing thing, and that was about the doctrine of men or tradition rather than doing it for God. Okay, so that last part I didn't really understand. It was written a little strange. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day. And the reason it doesn't matter is actually because this is not a dream from the Lord. So this is a very, Holy Spirit just shows me right away that there's a lot of fear, right? And the reason that there's fear in her life, and there's also a religious spirit during this time that was affecting Reya. Yeah, and so what probably went on during this time, and I say probably because I think she said that this was like 2 years ago that she had these dreams. She was probably researching a lot on rapture. A lot of people do this online. A lot of people post their dreams about the rapture, and it almost becomes an obsessive thing where people get very scared, right? And there's a lot of fear behind just focusing on the future and stuff. And so that's what was happening with Reya, as you know, during this time that she had asked the Lord and stuff, how she explained all that stuff, right? She stated that she was basically about to give up and she wanted to know what was in her heart. And so, yeah, this wasn't a dream from the Lord. This is very clear that this was a carnal dream, because at the end of the day, too, she didn't really remember everything, right? And she also it wasn't really written that well near the end. But no, that's what Holy Spirit shows me, that the second dream is a carnal dream, and so there's no interpretation. But outside of the dream, what Holy Spirit was showing me at that time was that Reya definitely had a spirit of fear, had a spirit of religion, right? But it's a little weird looking back, right? Especially with when I'm interpreting old dreams, or if I'm looking at my dream journal and I look at I look at a dream that happened a couple of years ago. It's a little strange to go back, and Holy Spirit literally will tell me what was happening at that time, right? With dreams, obviously, when I'm interpreting the dream, or if Holy Spirit shows me what's happening at the moment outside of the dream with the person's life. But anyways, so that second dream doesn't have an interpretation because, like I said, it's a carnal dream. And so I hope that gives you insight on what Holy Spirit was showing you, especially with the first dream, when you had it almost 2 years ago. But in any case, that concludes the dream interpretations for today. And just like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you guys would like me to interpret your dreams, feel free to send it to me at my email, which is dreaminterpretation2020@gmail.com. And if you are going to send me your dreams, also make sure to check that description down below, because I have a checklist of what to include in your dream email. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and God bless.